Don't let them keep you poor during the crisis. They're saying that a major crisis is coming from the United States. And maybe they're right. But here's the detail that almost no one notices. While millions are panicking, the wealthy are just watching, cold, calculated, prepared, because they know the traps that destroy the wealth of ordinary people and simply pass through them unscathed. The difference isn't just in how much they earn, but in what they avoid doing with the money they have. There's a silent playbook the wealthy follow, a secret guide of decisions that protects their fortunes even in the hardest times. Today, I'm going to reveal the invisible traps of spending, expenses that seem insignificant, but eat away at your wealth every single day, and why avoiding them could mean the difference between going broke or getting rich during the crisis. Each of these traps is part of a larger system designed to make your money flow into the pockets of those who understand the rules of wealth. Get ready, because the first trap seems harmless, but it's one of the deadliest. And the last item on this list is so deceptive that it feels like an act of power, but could be the most expensive financial decision of your life, because it costs your most precious asset. Get ready to discover the financial time bombs silently destroying your path to financial freedom. Or it could be used to buy physical gold, which in the past 10 years has gained over 60% in the US market. Now think, while that money evaporates through forgotten subscriptions, the rich are multiplying every cent. And here's the golden rule. Auto-renewing subscriptions are only worth it if you actually use them and extract value. Otherwise, they're quietly draining your future. That's why you should do a financial cleanup every quarter. Review everything that's being charged automatically and ask yourself, do I really use this? If the answer is kind of, cancel it. Because keeping a subscription you don't use is like paying rent on an empty room. Only then do you realize those harmless little drops were bleeding your money all along. It's literally money down the drain. But even though these subscriptions are slowly draining your cash, at least you still have time to react. The next mistake, you don't. It acts like a speeding car out of control, and it catches a lot of people off guard. Under two new car, the money-burning machine, disguised as an achievement. Buying a brand new car feels like a win, right? A symbol of status, of success. But that win is an illusion. The moment you drive it off the lot, the car loses about 15% of its value. In 5 years, it's worth less than half. And if you financed it, you're still paying interest on something that's already depreciating, but you're paying as if it was still worth full price. It's like lighting your money on fire and watching it burn right in front of you. Warren Buffett, one of the richest men on the planet, drives simple used cars. He prefers to make his money work, not lose value. Another famous example, Ingvar Kamprad, founder of IKEA. Even as a billionaire, he drove an old Volvo for decades and flew economy class. What they understand is simple: status doesn't buy financial freedom. Now imagine a typical American family buying a brand new car for $35,000. In 5 years, that car is worth less than $17,000, but they may still owe $25,000 because of interest. Meanwhile, if that same amount had been invested in a conservative fund with 5% annual compound interest, in just 5 years, it would have grown to over $44,000. The contrast is brutal. And the worst part, the new car is just the beginning. The industry wants you to keep spending, upgrades, accessories, expensive maintenance. It's a continuous cycle that drains your money without you realizing it. The right move is clear. Choose cars that are 2 to 3 years old, low mileage, still under warranty, same comfort, safety, and status. But saving tens of thousands of dollars and gaining the freedom to invest in something that actually grows and heads up. If the new car seems like a symbol of achievement, wait until you see the next trap. It's so subtle, so desirable, that millions fall into it without realizing. And it turns that feeling of success into regret, because it costs far more than you think, not in immediate cash, but in freedom and lost opportunities. Gadgets and tech, the new slavery of status. We live in the age of technology, and that's amazing, but it's also created a trap, the obsession with always having the latest model. A new iPhone drops, and suddenly the phone you bought 6 months ago feels obsolete, even though it works perfectly. Despite leading some of the biggest tech giants, Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk keep a low profile with personal gadgets. Bezos, head of Amazon, used the same Kindle for years. Musk avoids buying for status, staying focused on what really matters, building lasting companies and spending money where it makes a real impact. They understand that upgrading your device doesn't upgrade your financial life, but changing your mindset does. Smart billionaires only buy what truly adds value, because for many, this obsession costs far more than they realize. Here's the truth tech companies don't want you to know. You're trading your financial peace for a screen that's 0.5 inches bigger, for a camera that's 3% better. And the worst part, you don't even realize you're losing thousands as it depreciates. It's not worth it. The difference in experience between consecutive models rarely justifies the 1,000+'s price tag of upgrading. The cycle is intentionally and efficiently designed. Let's compare. You buy the latest smartphone for $1,200, and by the end of the year, it's worth half. Meanwhile, if that money were invested in a high liquidity account earning 4.5% per year, or even in physical gold, it could have earned an additional $1,250 over the same period, while preserving your capital. The billionaire rule is clear. Only buy tech if it adds real and lasting value. If not, you're trading your financial peace for a slightly bigger screen, a barely better camera. And it's not worth it. Here's the antidote. Use your technology for as long as it meets your needs. Don't fall for marketing, peer pressure, or the fear of falling behind. The real upgrade happens when you start thinking like the wealthy do. That's the simple rule of financially intelligent people. Warren Buffett used the same flip phone for years while building a billion-dollar empire. Would you do the same? Keep your phone that still works perfectly without the emotional need to replace it? This isn't about avoiding tech. It's about using it strategically, not emotionally. I'll say it again. The real upgrades happen when you start thinking like the rich. And speaking of the rich and unnecessary spending, if you think having the latest gadgets and tech is essential, start questioning what you believe and what you're doing with your money. Get ready. The next trap is even more sneaky. It strikes at your emotional impulse, convincing you that you need something to feel successful. Number 4. Impulse buying. The invisible monster that eats your money. We've all felt that I deserve it, or just this once. That's the perfect trigger for the invisible monster silently destroying wealth. Want a real example? Rihanna, now a billionaire, used to spend impulsively early in her career, but she quickly realized that impulsive spending could destroy her freedom. She hired advisors, created a strict budget, and started investing, transforming not just her career, but also her net worth. Today, her fortune is built strategically and intelligently, not emotionally or impulsively, just like we're discussing here. Multi-billion-dollar companies like Amazon and Shine profit billions by exploiting that same behavior. Impulse is quick, sneaky, and it steals your financial peace before you even notice. Studies show that impulsive shoppers spend up to 20% more than planned each month. Be honest, has that happened to you? And that spending isn't just lost money, it's lost time, lost freedom, and lost opportunities you'll never get back. The right action is simple. Before any purchase, ask yourself, does this purchase bring me closer to my goals? or further away. If it doesn't help build your freedom or your wealth, don't buy it. Spending for pleasure might feel like a relief for a few minutes, but it's a self-inflicted wound that hurts deeply. But here's the thing. If this trap hurts, wait for the next one. It has a devastating psychological effect that keeps millions stuck in the same toxic cycle. It's seductive, but the pain is even greater. Because it tricks you, it betrays you, and it empties your wallet without mercy. It goes straight for your ego, and most people don't even realize they were trapped until they look at their statement at the end of the month. And then comes that deep, painful regret. The kind that hits both your soul and your wallet. 5. Spending for appearances. The silent waste of money. Buying to impress others might seem harmless, but it's one of the most deceptive consumption traps. Designer clothes, expensive shoes, fine dining, luxury cars, all to project success. Meanwhile, the real cost goes far beyond the purchase price. An extreme example: private jets. A $3 million jet offers status, exclusivity, and that instant pleasure that makes your ego feel huge. But financial reality is brutal. Maintenance, insurance, fuel, crew, and hangar fees can cost $300,000 to $500,000 per year. Worse, most of these jets spend over 90% of the time parked, collecting dust, while your money flies straight into someone else's pocket. John, from Miami, bought his $3.2 million dream. He flew less than 20 days a year, and each flight cost over $16,000 per day. That instant pleasure came at a steep price, and his financial future paid for it. But millionaires think differently. They protect and multiply their assets. Do they buy luxury? Yes, but they invest in the experience without being trapped by the fixed costs. Renting jets on demand for $5,000 to $10,000 per day offers the same thrill while keeping capital free to multiply through investments. Services like NetJets, JetSmarter, and Wheels Up give you access without the trap of full ownership. Now, here's a classic example. Mark Zuckerberg shows up to billionaire events wearing the same plain grey t-shirt. Have you noticed? Another one? Amancio Ortega, founder of Zara, often eats lunch in the employee cafeteria and avoids showing off, even though he could dine with celebrity chefs every day. They understand a core truth. Real status doesn't need flashy packaging. Let's break it down for the average middle class. Picture a lake house or beach house worth $800,000. The image is perfect. Weekends away, barbecues with friends, the pride of saying, "This is mine." But taxes, maintenance, insurance, cleaning, and utilities can easily add up to $50,000 per year. And most of the time, the house just sits empty. Let's do the math. An $800,000 house with $50,000 annual upkeep over 10 years, $1.3 million in total costs. Meanwhile, if that same $800K were invested in an ETF or fund with an 8% average annual return, you'd have about $2.7 million after 10 years. The difference is crushing. That instant pleasure feeds your ego, but quietly steals your financial freedom. The rule of the wealthy is simple. Even if you value exclusive experiences, never spend more than 5% of your annual net income on luxury upkeep. Want luxury? Rent it, use shared ownership or premium subscriptions. You get the experience without sacrificing your financial freedom. Your true wealth lies in building assets, not in looking rich. The day you stop trying to impress others is the day you start building real freedom. And if this financial habit is already a wealth killer, wait until you see what's coming next. It might seem innocent and budget-friendly, but it's one of the cruelest traps of all. Worse, statistics show that over 60% of American families have already fallen into this trap without realizing the real impact. 6. No interest installments. The most dangerous disguise in spending. Paying in installments seems harmless. No interest, they say, But here's the trick. Many stores inflate the final price and lock up your cash flow for months or even years. Want another real example? Jay-Z became a billionaire. How? By avoiding installment payments and reinvesting profits into income-generating assets. He accumulates, invests, and pays in full. Because installments trap your money, but investing sets it free. Here's a middle-class example. A $1,200 smartphone split into 12 no-interest payments. Sounds safe, but you lost the chance to invest that money in a conservative fund earning 5% per year. In 1 year, that would have earned $60 in interest. Doesn't sound like much? Now multiply that by all your forgotten subscriptions, automatic payments, and installment plans. The effect is exponential. Thousands of dollars that could be working for you, but are in a T. The correct move. If you're going to pay in installments, ask, will this put money in my pocket or just drain it over time? If it doesn't grow your net worth, don't finance it. Pay in full or wait and reinvest every saved dollar. But pay attention, there's still a seventh trap, just as harmful, but even more sabotaging, because it doesn't just drain your money. It drains your freedom of choice and your time. The 7. Financing consumer goods. The auctioning off of your freedom. You may have never thought of it this way, but financing depreciating items is like auctioning off your freedom. You buy something expensive, divide it into 48 payments, and end up paying twice the price for something that's already worth half. Oprah Winfrey, once in extreme poverty, built her wealth by avoiding consumer debt. She only bought big things if she had the cash to pay in full, and invested the rest. Now compare that with the reality for most people. A car financed for $30,000 over 48 months. In the end, you pay $45,000, and the car has already lost $15,000 in value. While if that same $30K had been invested at 5% annually, in 4 years, you'd have $36,000, preserving and growing your wealth. The billionaire rule is clear. Before signing any contract, ask yourself, will this help me grow or keep me stuck? If it doesn't increase freedom, don't sign it. These are the invisible traps of consumption. They seem practical, harmless, but they erode your wealth every single day. You've now learned how to identify some of the silent wealth destroyers. Forgotten subscriptions, brand new cars, tech gadgets, impulse buys, spending for status, no interest installment plans, and long-term financing of consumer goods. Every small decision directly impacts your net worth. If this already shifted how you think about money, just wait for the next video. There we'll explore the seductive, intelligent traps of the system that appear to offer freedom, but in reality are the opposite. You'll also learn how the wealthy structure their lives to thrive, even during crises. And if you think this is extreme, wait until you discover how billionaires make the system work for them, not against them. Financial education isn't just about making more, it's about protecting every cent you've already earned. Subscribe to Rich Mind Lab, hit the like button, and turn on notifications. Here, you'll learn how to think like the rich, protect your money, and prosper.